Hello everybody, welcome to episode 162 of Nintendo Power Block. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me as always is that retro code, Eddie V.
I cannot wait to get the certain accessories so I could play the dip.
When I dip, you dip, we dip?
Yes.
That's a song, right?
Yes.
Okay. I was just making sure. I know things. Ed, how's it going? How's your week going?
It's going good. Some things are coming up that I'll probably discuss a little bit later. But gaming-wise, it's been hectic but happiness, I should say.
Hectic but happiness. Okay.
Yes. I was had a little bit of car trouble, and so I got worried that if getting part of my car fix was going to take away some of my gaming finances, I should say, but it did not. So I was able to pick up 2 games, and I still have enough to pick a certain game for tomorrow that I'm so excited. Yes.
Nice. Man, it's been let me tell you, it's been a week, man. I'm trying to get all of our websites and shows back in order and trying to get everything kind of like reconnected, I guess you would say. And boy, have I not been paying attention to the website side of stuff for a while. It's been crazy. So, but it's all right. You know what? Everything's getting back on track. Everything's getting back to normal. Everything's getting back to looking like our old selves again. I'm super hyped. I'm super excited. Ed, I'm also excited that you're hosting the NX show now.
Oh, yes.
I would like to shout that out. I appreciate you taking over hosting duties of that show, but don't worry, everybody. I'm still going to be there. Just if it's not Nintendo Power Block, I feel like I'm a better Robin than a Batman, if that makes sense. And I feel like you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I play better as a side host instead of the host, right? And Ed is the king of hosting podcasts, I feel like. So I really feel like Ed's a great host. So Optional Opinion as well is a fantastic show, so you should definitely listen to Ed and Optional Opinion. And the NX show, of course, our sister show, if you want to catch up on all video game stuff. But we're here to talk about Nintendo Power Block. Let's get into some of this housekeeping, shall we, Ed?
Yes, let's do it. All
right, everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Power Block Live. You can catch us live every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for about 90 minutes to talk about the happenings of the world of Nintendo. If you can't join us live, no big deal. You can find Nintendo Power Block on YouTube, Spotify, and your favorite podcast app every Saturday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, all edited and condensed and just for your listening pleasure. If you're busy, if you're driving, can't join us live, that's where you can listen to us. So, where did I leave off? Oh, no! I was doing so good. Oh, make sure you stay tuned for the after show where Ed and I will play some classic Nintendo games and take your questions in the Mixer chat. We're going to try to do this as a regular thing. We're going to play about an hour of classic retro Nintendo games and, take your questions and have kind of an after show. It's kind of a new work in progress, if you will. So, it's going to take a show or two to kind of nail things down, but I think it's a good idea. Ed and I kind of brainstormed, like, what can we do after the podcast to kind of get people more involved in, at least on Mixer, and that's kind of what we came up with. And so and plus it gives us a good excuse to play retro Nintendo games, which, not that we really need an excuse, but,
yes,
retro Nintendo games are freaking cool. And then when Ed comes and visits sometime, we'll bust out the Super Nintendo Classic, and I added some games to it, and we'll play some Turtles in Time and some.
Of course, that is a must.
Yeah, I know. It's so good. I'm so excited. So, anyways, for more, follow us on Twitter. Follow me at CoreyNH2713, and of course, you can follow Ed at ThatRetroCode. You should also follow him on Mixer at DeLyrical1. I'll type it in the chat so you guys can go give him a big follow too. And
yes,
yeah. So basically, we're gonna kind of we're kind of going to do this 2-man format. We kind of explained it last week, but I'm just going to run through the rigmarole real quick. We're going to hit the cartridge slot, which is what we've been playing section of the show. We're going to do an eShop drop. We're going to add that to the cartridge slot at some point. Now I'm going to try to find a quick release schedule for this week while we're doing the show. But, we're going to do that. And then we're going to jump into News Bits, which is our news section, and then wrap the show up with the question block. So, Ed, I'm really excited that we're doing Power Block again. We talked a little bit about it on the NX show, and then we obviously did our big direct kind of
our recap and our relaunch.
Yeah, the relaunch. That was the word I was looking for. Thank you. See, this is why I keep him around, guys. This is why I keep Ed around. So that was a huge show for us, and I feel like putting the show on Spotify finally really gave us a boost, and very, very happy that we're doing live shows. Seeing people in the chat, seeing people in the Facebook groups, in the Twitter, kind of really rallying around the show. I'm really excited that we decided to bring this back. So hopefully everybody's enjoying the show, and we're gonna jump into the cartridge slot. Ed, what's in your cartridge slot this week? What are you playing? What are you playing on Switch?
So on Switch, I'm still playing Astral Chain, getting a little bit more further into that game. I had to kind of put it to the side due to some other things coming up, but I am back into this game, and once again, one thing I will say, I love the mystery stuff that's in here, like the investigations and trying to connect and everything, and it really feels good to have that. I mentioned when me and Corey was talking, I mentioned how I love mystery games, I kind of like thrillers and stuff, and some of the whodunit kind of things, and Astral Chain has that, and it just feels good to do things like that. Also playing Super Metroid on the Super NES Online, and once again, it's still a great game. It's still a game for design, very historic and very classic in its own way. It's a good thing for people who are new to Super Nintendo games, who never owned a Super Nintendo, or who is just even new to video games in general. I think it's definitely one game that everyone must play. I stated before, these games look good in HD, definitely on Switch. The brightness of them, the crisp and clearness.
I feel like the emulation is better than it was on the Wii U, right? I feel like
yes.
On the Wii, it was straight emulation because it wasn't an HD console. You had the composite inputs still into your TV, and you kind of got that the input. There was no input lag because of the type of TVs you were playing on, and the games were built for tube TVs, not HD TVs, so. You really didn't have that input lag. And then on the Wii U, something was a little off. The input lag was just slightly enough to be annoyed, right? I think Mario Maker with the Pro Controller honestly has that same problem. But, getting back to Super Nintendo, on the Wii U, it just kind of felt a little off. The colors looked a little dark. It just, the emulation didn't feel right. And we finally got Super Nintendo games on the 3DS, and those felt great, but this is really the first time since the Wii we're able to play these games with great color, input lag's not there, they just pop and they feel like you remember them, right? And then also you have them in HD, like you said, and you have the different filters, like the CTR filter, the Pixel Perfect filters, there's a bunch of things you can do to the games to make them feel the way you remember them or want them to feel. And
yes,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. You're completely right.
It's just I'm really excited that we have Super Nintendo games, and it makes me really want to order one of those Super Nintendo
controllers.
One of those controllers. I know they're $30, but again, it's only $30. So.
Exactly. And it's good that you mentioned how they looked on Wii and Wii U. Definitely with Wii U, just looking at them on the TV and actually on the Wii U gamepad, the resolution looked different. for some reason, like the colors and everything. But like when you look at it on Switch and handheld or on your TV, it's still colorful and it's still crisp to look at. And I'm like, definitely when you have your headphones on and just listening to that sound, I'm like, wow, these games still sound great. And congrats to Nintendo. They've been working all this time trying to get these games up. So shout out to them. Also played a little bit more of Torchlight 2, getting kind of a little bit further into there. It's going to take a while to get into, because I've been playing Torchlight 2 in handheld. I haven't played it on TV, but I really want to. So still playing a little bit more of Grandia HD. Downloaded the demo of Contra Road Course, and I watched a little bit gameplay of it on Game Informer, and I am going to buy this game. And I will tell you why I'm going to buy it. I sometimes love weird and wacky looking games.
Sometimes.
Okay, all the time, yes. And Contra Road Course, I'm about to say Hard Course. Contra Road Course looks
Even
like
better.
it's going to be, yeah. It looks like it's going to be that. Just this wacky and weird. Yeah, it's not like tight graphics, and it's not the original 2D gameplay. Like, they're doing something really different, but it's something that because I still love the Contra series, and it's something that I feel like no one's gonna really give this game a chance, but I'm willing to put some money into it, whether it's good or bad or even average. I'm willing to put some money into this to get something out of it, to laugh at it or laugh with it, I should say, but thoroughly enjoy my time with it. I love Contra Rebirth, and that was a really short game. And I was just like, Contra Rebirth, as great as it is, didn't fulfill my hunger. Loved the game, wish it was on the collection anniversary, but it didn't feed me because it was so short. Yeah, it's difficult, but I'm like, you can learn everything. You can learn the patterns and get through that game. I wanted like 3 more levels, or I wanted a 10 level game with Contra Rebirth. Like, I really wanted some more. Because those just 5 levels, even playing it on hard, because I played it on a difficulty setting and beat it, I wanted something more, and it just didn't fulfill me. And I think Contra World Course might fulfill me if they're willing to put the time and effort into it. I'm willing to give it a try. So, but that's pretty much what's been in my cartridge slot. That's what I've been playing on Switch.
Nice. For me, it's been Fire Emblem still. It's been I'm still grinding away in that game. I'm about 60 hours in, I would say. It's a fantastic game. It's up there in my game of the year discussion, for sure. Right now I'm making my way through Gears on Xbox, like I said, but Fire Emblem in terms of Nintendo stuff is up there for my game of the year so far this year, and I know yours is Yoshi's Crafted World so far, but Fire Emblem it's a special game. It's really taken a lot of what I like about Fire Emblem and really evolved the systems and stuff. So and I know we've talked a lot about Fire Emblem on our other shows, but Fire Emblem has come and gone since we brought Nintendo Power Block back, and I haven't really got to talk about it for the Nintendo audience. So, the 3 houses thing is very, very cool. It's the recruiting the students is very interesting, and going through and where I'm at in the story, it's starting because all these characters you learned about and knew from the other houses. Now that I'm in the back half of the game, I don't really want to spoil anything, but sometimes the endings for these characters that you've grown to know through the first half of the game, sometimes the endings are sad or emotional, or you feel bad for the decisions you're making, but you have to because you chose this house, the house that you're with, right? And so
Yes.
it's really, really interesting to see how these characters have evolved, and how the story is sticking with me, to be honest with you. It's very, very anime, very kind of cliche anime style stuff, but it's a fantastic strategy game. And if you own a Switch, I feel like Fire Emblem is a must-have, even if you aren't into anime or into certain style things. If you like RPGs specifically, because it actually takes a more JRPG route than you really expect in terms of character development and stuff. So
Yeah.
Fire Emblem Three Houses for Switch is a must-have. I highly recommend it. So
Three Houses feels like a fresh start. Like this is the third start chapter in this series, because I feel like we had the original Fire Emblem in those games, and then this reboot with Awakening, leading into the popularity that it grew into, and now this is like kind of like the third evolution of the series, and it feels right, where it still could bring in casual people who know the series, like been fans of it for a long time, and just RPG fans in general, it could also bring with it. So, and I do agree with you. I think it's one of the games that it deserves this Game of the Year nomination. It deserves to be on everybody's list, and most people collection. And if people who want to know how to play a strategy RPG, I think Fire Emblem Three Houses is a great game to ease them in before they go in the past series or jump anywhere around strategy games like Final Fantasy Tactics or Valorant Hearts and stuff like that. I think Three Houses is a good way to lean them into it.
Yeah, and especially like the first couple missions really teaches you a lot throughout the game. There's a lot, and it is very overwhelming at the beginning. But if you can't just start this game and play for 10 minutes and be like, okay, I'm done right now. It's I think you need to sit down for like an hour or two and really dig into the meat of this game when you start it, and really take in the systems and stuff, because it is a very, very overwhelming game if you don't play RPGs or don't play strategy games. But I also really think it takes that, it knows that, and then it really digs in and teaches you a lot too. So
yes,
yeah, I love Fire Emblem. It's definitely up there in my Game of the Year discussion. So I've been playing that. I also played a little bit of Smash Ultimate with Banjo. Banjo's ridiculously cool. He's just awesome. Like he's so cool, in the music and the stage. Like the stage for Banjo, the stage for Banjo is Spiral Mountain, and it's like the N64 game come to life, but like in HD and kind of remastered in the way of like, you want to see Banjo-Kazooie come back in a Mario Odyssey style game. Like that's what the stage looks like, and the stage rotates while you're fighting on it ever so slightly, so like you do see all of Spiral Mountain, and you do see all of like all the like surrounding areas while you're fighting on top of Spiral Mountain. It is so cool, and the attention to detail that they gave Banjo and the love that they gave him, just like they would any other character, is, I mean, it's not surprising, but it also is kind of surprising. You know what I mean? Just because Sakurai he's so focused on his details and everything. Like, I really think Banjo got a lot of love. He's kind of clunky. He's very like, I don't know if I would main him, but also you're talking to a guy who mains King Dedede, so I mean, just I love Smash. It's so good, and what they did with first Joker and then the hero, and now Banjo is like, they're really killing it, man. And I really hope that Smash lasts for a long time, and they keep adding these awesome characters to this game, and when whatever the ultimate edition of this comes out, where all the DLC characters are on the cartridge, I will probably buy the physical copy of that version of the game just to have as like a history of video games on in a physical form, because we're never going to get this again. I mean, and if we do, it's going to be a long time, right? But yeah, I've been playing Smash. Played a little bit of Smash, so I really only played it just to see how
Banjo
was. So I downloaded the Dragon Quest XI demo, but I haven't really gotten a chance to really dive into it. But I have been playing Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon, also on Switch.
A game I need to finish.
I
need to actually pick up, I should say.
That is a Castlevania game. I mean, if you like NES Castlevania, you should probably buy Curse of the Moon. It's $10. So
yeah, while Bloodstained is still being patched, right. I should say.
Right. So yeah, that's really all I've been playing on Switch. It's really been more like, I mean, you and I have both been streaming more on Mixer, and really kind of been focused on that audience for a while. And we've met a lot of cool people. Although,
yes,
before I shout out the normal people that I like to shout out on the show, I met a Nintendo streamer through Mixer.
Oh, cool!
Yeah,
nice.
I met her name. Let me hold on. I want to get it right because I don't like messing it up. Her name is Elith, the Elven streamer. It's just mixer.com/Elith, ELLETH, and I think we're gonna try to get her on some sort of show. Just to interview her, because she does a lot of cool things, like she's been streaming the Oracle Zelda games, right? She's going through.
Oh, nice.
I talked to her a little bit yesterday, and she's streaming all the Zelda games from release date moving forward, and she's playing them in order. So and today's her birthday, by the way, so everybody go to
happy birthday,
twitter.com
I have a
/Elif_official.
question for her, though.
What?
Is she playing the CDI games too?
I don't know. I didn't ask her that, but that would be super interesting. Unless she can find a good ROM of those, I don't know. And zombies in the chat sending them sparks over here. But yeah, I really want to give her a shout out, because there's not a lot of Nintendo streamers on Mixer, and like I just happened to find her because I follow two Mixer, like off-brand Mixer pages on Twitter called Mixer Retweeter and Mixer Highlights.
Yeah.
And she was on there, and I was like, oh, she's a Nintendo streamer, because she's somebody I think we could probably have either on this show or some form of the show, or like a Super Nintendo Power Block episode where we interview her type thing.
Yeah.
And just, have her come on and talk about Zelda. And I tweeted at her. I messaged her. She followed me back, and I messaged her. I said, hey, whatever, kind of introduced myself and told her what we were doing and stuff. So she was interested. I just have to let her know what we're doing, and we have to come up with a plan. But I also want to have her on something else that I'll announce before we get into news bits. But yeah, man, I'm excited that we're like, you and I and Jesse too, like we found this nice little Mixer community, right? Like we've kind of been moving forward with these people in a Mixer community, and we're interacting with each other, co-streaming with each other, that kind of thing, interacting on Twitter. It's been cool, and like when we were streaming on Twitch and stuff, we never had that kind of interaction on Twitch, you know, like
Yeah.
never really had a community. I mean, it was always just you, me, and Jesse, and you know, sometimes Ray, or you know, sometimes Matt or something, you know, and getting people in there. But we've got a healthy community building through Mixer, and it's cool, you know, it's awesome. So before we get into news bits, I want to give a shout out to Zombie Killer 601, BTS Starburst, Battlebug, and who am I missing? Ed, who am I missing? Oh, SE 960. I want to give a shout out to them specifically because they're kind of our Mixer posse, I guess you would say.
Yes.
So shout out to all of them. Also shout out to Jesse. We miss Jesse. So Phantom NNXS on Mixer because he typoed. So good job, Jesse. We love you. But anyways, before we get into these news bits, I also want to say that there are 3 new shows coming. Very excited. One is officially in production, and Ed is going to be the first guest on that show. I'm announcing here on Nintendo Power Block that Standard Definition interview podcast is coming to the network. So look out for that in the coming weeks. Ed is going to be my first guest. Basically, it's going to be a show where we talk about what we're doing in the content creation space and why we love doing it. And I think Ed and I's is clearly going to go towards the Nintendo Power Block or Nintendo games in general and podcasting and stuff, and reminisce about stuff. And then, you know, obviously I'm going to get a lot of other... there. Yeah. I mean, I want to have... I want to have Ed as my first guest because he's, you know, you are the person who, I mean, inspired the show, first of all, but also you've been with me the longest out of everybody that I podcast with or play with or stream with. You know, you've been with me the longest, and I don't know why you stuck around, but, you know, I appreciate you all the same, and I love you like a brother. And, you know, when you came and visited, that was so awesome. And, you know, we've had a lot of good times together, and that's why, like, I want you to be the first guest, you know? So, and I mean, I've been on Optional Opinion a few times, and, you know, it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and it's thanks to you that it's finally happening, to be honest with you. So,
yay, finally.
Yeah. So, anyways, so that's coming. And once we finalize these next 2 projects, we will let you know what they are. Spoilers, one of the hosts is in the chat. So, anyways.
Who could that be? Yes.
Ed, I love you so much. So, anyways, we're going to get into these news bits here. Right here on Nintendo Power Block. Our first story comes from Nintendo Life, nintendolife.com. You can go there and check out all things Nintendo. Very, very reliable, very fun site that Ed and I use frequently.
Yes.
So I actually check it like every day.
I have yelled at 2 o'clock in the morning because of some news, and I almost got in trouble for that.
I literally use it before I probably check it 2 or 3 times a day, to be honest with you. I use it. It's my primary source for this show, to be 100% honest with you guys. So, yeah. Anyways, yes. Switch's NES and SNES games will no longer be added monthly. SNES games have finally arrived on Nintendo Switch, joining the already existing NES library to create an ever-growing treasure trove of retro delights for Nintendo Switch Online subscribers. Previously, when we only had NES games to enjoy, new titles were released almost religiously on the second Wednesday of every month, but this is about to change. Nintendo's official website in Japan has posted an article covering the new SNES game service, indicating that new titles will appear, quote, irregularly rather than every month. This new format will apply to NES Library too, so it looks like any additions for either console should come at any time. As you'd expect, it appears that this will definitely be a worldwide affair and not just limited to Japan. Australian site Vooks received a statement from Nintendo in their region being told that new games will be added after launch, but those releases will not adhere to a regular schedule. So, again, this article is from Nintendo Life. I mean, this is pretty regular for them, right? I mean, I was surprised that the Nintendo games are coming out at a cadence.
Yes.
We saw Virtual Console and Wii and Wii U. Those games just came out whenever they felt like it. Sometimes we'd get like 20 games a month, and then then we'd get we'd wait 2 months, and then we'd get another batch. So yeah. So anyways, how do you feel about that, Ed?
I think it's good, and everybody hear me out before people lose their minds.
Here it comes.
It's good that they're doing this because they're trying to get people to realize on how many games is coming out for the actual Nintendo Switch. Yes, there is a benefit to their online with SNES and NES, but there's so much coming out in the near future that you sometimes don't even think about what's coming to their online systems. Kind of like how Games for Gold and PlayStation Network, on how those games are doing it every month. You sometimes forget that a lot of those games come on certain dates, and half of their list is the first 15 days, and then the second half. And sometimes you'd be like, oh man, it's the last day of the month, I gotta go get this. Where with the SNES and NES, they would just be like, okay, we're gonna put this out for this quarter. Here's 10 games. Maybe out of the 10, you may play 2, but those 10 games are available while you're trying to get through your backlog and new games and new indies and stuff. So I think it's good that they're kind of spreading it out. They're going to give it time. They're going to try to probably also work on getting the license, getting them, making sure that they run, trying to get the online functions and everything with it. I think they're going to be trying to work hard to get that all up and running, and trying to do that month by month have been difficult for them in Japan. And also, there's a possibility we could get Super Famicom games that never came out, like the Fatal Frame games. I think one of them started on the Super Nintendo before they even came to PlayStation. So it would be good. It'll be cool to play those kind of games, and if that takes time for them to get it up and running and actually bring it to America, take the time that you need. We got 10 plus games per week dropping, like from now until maybe even half of next year. So I don't think anyone would miss the games that's coming. If there's something that's up your alley and be like, oh, I remember this game, or I want to try this, I want to learn this genre, it'll be there, and Nintendo would just bam, there you guys go.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good thing for them.
Yeah. I think they can, instead of adhering to some sort of some sort of schedule, they can make events around the releases, right? They can make,
yes,
I mean, I don't know when or if Nintendo 64 games or Game Boy games are coming at all or not, but when, I don't know what games aren't released on this thing already that people want, whenever Metroid Prime comes out. Maybe that's a bad example because there's not a lot. When the next Zelda game comes out, they can make a big deal and say, hey, here's Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask available here, or you know what I mean? They could do some sort of event leading up to it, or the way that when on Pokemon on 3DS, right? They released the classic games that year when they were hyping up Sun and Moon. So I mean, they could do something like that too, which is exciting.
And right now you got 70 plus games to play, even with the SP ones. Not all online gamers in the Nintendo family have beaten every game that's on there. Trust me, no one pretty much has played Earth Defense Force for Super Nintendo, but play it and try to get through that game. That might actually take you a while. you know. So I think they have enough to spread out. There's enough to play on the system, and plus everybody, you have PC, Xbox, PlayStation. Soon you'll have Stadia. You'll have a lot of options to game anywhere.
Yeah,
you know. So
yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what games come. I'm still holding out for Turtles in Time and some kind of weird impossible thing. So, all right. Our next story also comes from Nintendo Life. There's a rumor through data mining that Fortnite might be getting a Splatoon crossover on Switch. So the two of the biggest and best online shooters available on Nintendo Switch might be about to join forces, should the findings of the data miner be anything to go by. Hypex, one of social media's most popular Fortnite leakers, has revealed that items potentially relating to Nintendo's Splatoon franchise have been discovered within the game's files. A new skin, a new back bling have been found with the word Squid Kid in the title, as mentioned in the tweet below. What else could Squid Kid realistically be referring to? While the idea of Fortnite cross Splatoon might seem a bit out there at first glance, it would actually make a whole lot of sense. Over recent months, Fortnite has had crossovers coming out of its proverbial backside. Right now, there's a Borderlands event taking place, and having Nintendo's popular shooter be present in the game could do wonders for both titles. From Nintendo's point of view, having Fortnite ridiculously large audience become more aware of Splatoon can only be a great thing, and the move could drive previously unwilling Nintendo fans to see what Fortnite's actually like too. So that'd be cool. I could totally see Splatoon crossing over with Fortnite.
I can't, and in a sense, I don't want it to. Not to, and okay, so.
Here we go.
Here goes
Everybody strap in.
Eddie. Strap in. I think Fortnite and Splatoon are two different style of games, and because of the way that Fortnite's designed with the building and the moving around with that, especially with this colorful premise. I mean, colorful look, not premise. I'm sorry. Splatoon would have fit in that world due to Splatoon is all about painting and taking over how much land you could take. You really can't do that in Fortnite. I could see that there could be some worlds and there could be people to the Splatoons to look like that style, or even the characters of Fortnite have a squid head and stuff, like cosmetic stuff. But those two worlds like colliding doesn't work. And this just might be for me. It doesn't work that Splatoon already has its fan base, and it already has its idea of what it wants to be. Fortnite is still trying to me personally, I feel like Fortnite is still trying to find its way. And the reason why I say that is that it's always adopting other stuff that battle royale games are doing and trying to mix it in. So even though they're trying to compete with other battle royale games, they're always taking something from some other game and put it into its own. So it hasn't officially found itself yet, where I feel like Splatoon has already found it, and Nintendo can evolve with that.
I feel like Nintendo could easily not to be a super battle royale here, but I feel like Nintendo could almost have a mode in Splatoon that could be a battle royale mode. I think Splatoon is totally built for that, right? Clearly it's only 5 or 4v4, but I mean, if they kind of crunch the tech or whatever, and they could be maybe not 100 players, but do something like Apex does and be like, hey, it's squads only, and you can go 4v4 with 20 teams of 4 or 15 teams of 4, right? And go in and kind of work your way in there, right? I think Splatoon could totally do that.
If they keep their same premise, yes. I could see where there's those 3 players and it's 4 or 5 or 8 teams, and everybody's coloring. And there's just different colors, and you got to see how all of that would turn out, because you don't win in Splatoon by just always destroying the other team. You don't. You
No.
have to. The thing about Splatoon is you have to cover a lot of ground in your own paint,
Yep.
in your own ink, and you could hit other players to stop them, but then you need two other people, or you need your three other people to cover ground, in there. And in Fortnite, you really don't do that in a sense. But if Nintendo wants to have that idea of a battle royale, or that kind of dynamic, they can. It's nothing new or anything. They can, but I want to see how it's all gonna play. And what if they do? Yeah, it's 3 people per team. You guys are gonna have 24 teams, but you all gonna have random weapons. So every time you play, you don't have that same weapon. If you get one weapon, you're the only one that has that weapon, and all 23 other players got 23 different guns.
Yeah.
I could see Nintendo doing that, because it'll be cool to mix it up, in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I really honestly, I think like whatever whatever they're data mining and stuff, like I feel like this is more of like, how when Xbox and PlayStation gets exclusive skins a lot, right? I feel like that might be the closest thing to a crossover we get, is if like, hey, if you get this Switch bundle with Fortnite in it, you get a Splatoon starter pack style thing, where like it might just be like a T-shirt with one of the Squid Kids on it, or the backpack and stuff like they're talking about. So I don't really see like you can be a Squid Kid in Splatoon now, like that kind of thing. So we'll see. I think it'd be cool. I think Fortnite does a lot of interesting things, although sometimes they don't always stick the landing. I think, I know popularity is kind of like, it makes Fortnite an easy target to hit, kind of like Call of Duty in the past. But I think Fortnite is a good, solid game. I don't think it's a great game. I think it's a solid game, and I think they do a lot of interesting things. The Stranger Things crossover, the Avengers crossover, those things are super interesting.
Yeah.
And, sometimes they hit big and sometimes they don't. And they're really quick to fix issues that they have and stuff like that. So, we'll see. Fortnite's still big. So, whatever they want to do to really grow that brand is up to them, right? So all right, Ed, remember Wii Fit? Remember how great Wii Fit was?
Yes, I do.
Well,
I own one.
This story comes from Game Informer. Hopefully this isn't hopefully we get to use Game Informer for a long time. I don't know if you heard, Ed, but GameStop is closing between 180 to 200 stores by the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah, I heard.
I don't really like GameStop as a store, but I mean, if GameStop's doing bad, it means Game Informer's not doing well. So, anyways, Nintendo is getting back into the fitness game with Ring Fit Adventure. Are you ready for Ring Fit Adventure? Ed, I think we should both get Ring Fit Adventure and live stream us working out with this.
Yes.
With this thing.
Yes.
So. What?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to read the article real quick. Nintendo has officially revealed Ring Fit Adventure, an all-new fitness game that includes a resistance ring, leg straps, and your Joy-Cons. The announced trailer highlights several modes, which includes a full-fledged adventure, activity-based minigames, and a more traditional form of exercise. The Ring-Con peripheral offers adjustable levels of resistance that gives players of various strength and levels of challenge. Using the Ring-Con in conjunction with the leg strap, players can engage in 40-plus different activities arranged in 4 different categories: arms, core, legs, and yoga-inspired moves. Ring Fit Adventure is coming to Nintendo Switch October 18th and will cost $79.99.
I am excited about this.
Of course you are.
I kind of have a belly. This is the thing. People love the gamify stuff. Um, and I
Ed,
remember
I have a belly. Maybe you should stop eating McDonald's every night at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
you know what?
Hey, I'm just saying maybe that has something to do with it.
Okay, I'm guilty for that. But actually a funny story, but I'll tell it another day. I always wanted to be big because for like a couple of years I was weighing between 82 to 110 pounds, so I couldn't put on weight for anything. But all of that's changed. I'm an adult. Let's move on.
Once you hit 30, man, it's just all.
Shit, just whatever. But you get a job and you get to pay for your own stuff. You get to eat anything you want. But um, uh, there was a website called GayGamer.net, and one of the editors on there really took the Wii Fit, not doing a Wii Fit challenge, but really was just like, I'm gonna dedicate 3 months of my time to Wii Fit and see what it does. And he weighed about 240 some pounds, and he was doing it every day, recording his progress, changes lifestyle, eating and things, and doing more walking and exercise and stuff. And he was always doing the Wii Fit board every day. There was sometimes that he couldn't do it because he was sick or he had a meeting and stuff, but he will always come home and make it up. And it's stuff like that kind of shows that if you stay committed, if you enjoy video games and they can make you become a healthier person, why not invest in it? And we know Nintendo has talked about the life of quality products that they want to bring. We look at the little what Iwata had with the little snap thing you put your finger in to relax in and stuff like that. And more stuff they had ideas and trademarks for. This is just another thing. I think not to make you look crazy, or yeah, you can play with the family stuff with it, but I'm like, they have your best interest of you being healthy and living longer. So if they can make you game and do these poses and exercise better, not just something that you want to throw in the closet and be like, oh, I spent my $70 on some junk. If you really are committed and feel like you can make some life choices, why not do something like this? Why not try to reach that market? With Wii Fit, it was more about the balance board, but this opens up so many possibilities and options. Even this could be used for Just Dance and stuff like that. And other stuff could come out of it. I want to get it. I want to try it so I could work out better. And plus, if this saves money from going to the gym, then yeah, I'm for it. Like, if I could get a 6-pack by doing crunches, or it helps me with my arms and stretching and stuff like that, and make my body more relaxed and calm and stuff, why not do it? Why not try to go for it? I don't see Microsoft or Sony pushing anything like that. Yeah, Microsoft had the Kinect, but look how they disbanded that because of what gamers weren't using it for, and how Microsoft.
I feel like I was just gonna say, like, I feel like Kinect was a fad where like Nintendo is kind of seems to keep that train rolling somehow for some reason. Like, I mean, even as unsuccessful as the Wii U was, like, they still had exercise games on there, and like the two best-selling games on Wii and Wii U, besides like what we kind of expect, were like Wii Fit and Zumba and like these workout games and stuff, and like that continued onto the Wii U, right? And like, yeah, it's crazy, and I mean, I know the best-selling Kinect game was Just Dance, right? Like the Just Dance series, which is
actually Dance Central would have been.
That's what I meant. Dance Central. That's what I meant. Whatever, it's all the same. It's all the same garbage. Sorry, I stole Ed's word. But I think like the workout scene, I think with how popular the Switch is, and like I feel like Nintendo did something that they didn't capture with the Wii and they didn't capture with the Wii U, right? Where like they finally they hit that hardcore audience, right? Like the hardcore is really into Nintendo again, and it's awesome to see that, right? And now, like even with the Wii, like they had that blue ocean strategy, and they got all these kind of quote unquote casual gamers, because this is before smartphones were big and apps, free to play apps were big and whatever, and Facebook gaming was still a thing, and you know what I mean? Like Nintendo captured that audience very well, but they didn't really capture the hardcore, except for like, you know, Nintendo fans, you know, including me. Like I fell off the Wii. I love Twilight Princess, and I can't tell you how many games on the Wii that I finished, because I really don't know. I
finished a lot.
I mean, I love the Wii for Virtual Console. Like, it was basically my Zelda and Virtual Console box, right? Because like I was at the time I was really into Gears of War 1. Like it was the first game I ever got all the achievements in. I was playing semi-competitively at the time. Like, just I loved Gears so much, and the Wii, like, until Zelda came out, you know, it's yeah.
And the thing with the Wii Fit board, Wii Fit and Wii Fit U, it's the commitment. It's always going to be the commitment of, you know, if you are a hardcore player, if you want to consider yourself to be like that, if you are committed to yourself to a game that you can just sit down and control buttons, you should be able to commit yourself into a new experience. Try to get something out of it. Try to gamify it and see what you could take for it. You really can't say, I'm going to give it 3 days or 3 tries and then it's junk. You know, that's unfair, not to the developers, but that's unfair to you as a gamer. You're not pushing your commitment to something that's new. It don't have to be revolutionary or evolve or anything, but it should be something that, hey, if they're bringing out this new product and it feels innovative, or I'm willing to give it a try, let me be committed to it and let me see what I get out of it. Because I think a lot of hardcore gamers are just, they voice their opinion by saying, we don't want this because and this is just me, we don't want this because we're not going to be committed to this. It's not that it doesn't appeal to us or anything, it's just that we're not going to be committed to it, you know. And I feel like with this Ringcom, that I think people need to give it a try instead of dismissing it. Even with their cardboard series, cannot think of their cardboard series. With that, you know, there is a commitment to that. A lot of people might complain and stuff, but I'm like, look how Xbox and PlayStation hasn't inspired anybody like Nintendo has. When you are getting kids into engineering, that's big.
Yeah, I think Labo was definitely an interesting experiment for Nintendo. I think it's so, like, here's the thing about Nintendo, like the thing that like the mainstream kind of like whatever the mainstream kind of media goes out and says is like, they're mad that Nintendo, like, oh man, Nintendo's putting on a product, it must be for me. Like, Nintendo is expanding their business model, and they want the Switch to be the center of that business model. Whether it's almost like the way that virtual reality is working, in a way where, like, you know, virtual reality, we see it as a gaming device, but this device could help, you know, people who can't travel visit places they could never go, or they could help doctors learn stuff about anatomy without, you know, injuring a person. You know what I mean? Like, they can do all these different things, and like, you know, Switch isn't going to teach a doctor how to do surgery or anything, but it's like, okay, Nintendo's expanding their business model where, like, we're going to try to get kids into math and science and engineering. We're going to try to get people working out again. We're going to try to get people doing all these unique things that, you know, they can't really do anywhere else.
We talked about Super Mario Maker helping people create levels and what it takes to be a level designer. That's part of engineering. That's part of gaming, and anyone could do it. Whether you just throw something up and test and trial it, you know, That's very educational, and I think Nintendo is only doing that. Of course, Sony tried it with Big Little Planet, but look what happened with Big Little Planet. Big Little Planet inspired people to make Nintendo levels.
Yeah. So.
And games that's on Nintendo. Look at Dream. Dreams should be bigger than what it is, and Sony is not talking about that.
I know, like that's the sad thing. Like I've heard so many things about Dreams that's like, if you have a PlayStation, like, and you're interested at all in game design, you should be playing Dreams. You should be looking at Dreams. Like, if you have any interest in game design, and in what Xbox is doing with certain games, like moving into PC, moving into other platforms, Sony should be taking that idea and like running with it with Dreams. Like they should have Dreams working on PC within these other VR headsets. They should really be pushing Dreams on PC, right? And like they're playing with that idea with the David Cage games, with that kind of thing. Like they're playing with that idea, but those
Dreams.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Dreams is such a community game, almost like Mario Maker.
Yeah, like if you leave it on a platform, especially on a PlayStation 4 at the end of its life cycle, like you're literally leaving that game out to dry. And like it's a good thing that PlayStation 5 is backwards compatible, so that community can keep building and keep growing.
Right.
But that just means you have to make sure all PlayStation 4, thing like units and controllers and stuff work for PlayStation 5, or make new ones that are compatible with Dreams. But then you fall in that place, do I need to buy new peripherals? Do I need to save my old ones? Can I trade this in? Like, a lot of people are going to trade in their PlayStation 4s for PlayStation 5s, right? Like,
right.
A lot of people are going to do that. We aren't, because we don't trade in consoles, hardly at all. Like, the only way I'm going to trade in a console is if, like, okay, I traded in my Xbox One S for an X. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I did. But, like, what Nintendo is doing in this space is so interesting and so, I would almost say experimental to an extent, where, like, I think they're starting to branch out and be like, it's the same thing that they're doing at Universal, right? You're going to be able to take your Switch to the new Universal Super Nintendo Land, take your Switch, and that's how you get on rides. That's how you, like, interact with the park. Like, they're going to have a Switch app that you can use at Universal to interact with stuff. And like Disney kind of does this in their theme parks with their magic bands and stuff, where you wear this little wristband and you can go up and scan it, and then you can link it to your phone, and your phone can kind of scan things and do things within the park, right? And the Switch is going to do that thing too with the theme park, which makes me expect that the Switch as a unit, maybe not, Switch 1.0, but I feel like there's going to be a Switch 2.0 and a Switch 3.0, because this is how they want people to use their Switch to interact with their daily lives, and it seems like we're moving that way. So.
Yeah, as many as, even with Switch Lite coming out and stuff, it seems that more people are buying a Nintendo Switch. I've been seeing on my friends list, and random people just be like, okay, I gave in, I got a Switch, and then they're getting these games. They're asking for recommendations. And I feel like this Ring thing, for people who are thirst trapping, I should say, try to keep it contemporary, but a lot of people, even kids, know what a thirst trap is. For people who are into stuff like that, it would be cool to even market the Ring Conf. You got a favorite Instagram person or a favorite Twitter, someone that you like and stuff, and they got a Switch and they're showing off some of the benefits that come from it. That's great marketing for Nintendo that they didn't have to pay anybody for. And you could get more followers and stuff looking at it, to be like, okay, now I kind of see the appeal for it. Nintendo introduced it, but we as a community are really selling it and stuff. And there are going to be people who are going to make fun of it. There are going to be people who are
Of course there are.
There are going to be people who are going to try to get this thing into the Guinness World of Records. There are going to be a lot of people taking this small little product and doing so much with it. And the hardcore they continue to say this is not for me, but people who are committed to using it in a certain way are creative to use this also. We don't Nintendo them won't have to even worry about the hardcore because other people are doing it. So it's gonna be, you can stay left out, or you can join in, or you can keep it going the way that it is. But I'm glad that Nintendo is at least doing something like this. I'm willing to pick it up. You know?
Yeah. So speaking of Nintendo expanding their horizons, we're going to go to this next story. This comes from IGN. Super Nintendo World counters Galaxy's Edge, which is Disney's new Star Wars themed area in their parks, with Mario rides and Switch integration, which is what we were just talking about. Disney has lightsabers. Universal gets wristbands and Switch consoles. Universal Parks and Resort Chairman and CEO Tom Williams revealed more details about the upcoming Super Nintendo World, which is opening in Universal Studios Japan in 2020. Not only will the park include themed rides and restaurants, but there is also an interactive component and maybe even Nintendo Switch integration with the park. At a conference interview with Bank of America Merrill Lynch's Jessica Jean-Reef Cohen, Williams gave more details about Super Nintendo World, a new Nintendo-themed attraction similar to Galaxy's Edge and Disneyland parks, but based on Nintendo properties. Universal signed the deal with Nintendo back in 2015, and the park is finally going to open next spring. By the way, this is opening in Universal Orlando in 2022, or 2022, I think, and also Universal Studios Hollywood in the near future as well. It's a whole new separate area of the park, said Williams. It's got food, it's got merchandise. The first phase will have 2 rides, Super Mario Kart ride, and as well as Yoshi's Adventures. You can watch the trailer below. Blah 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 blah. So, Super Nintendo World is opening soon. It sounds like it's going to be a lot more than just. It sounds more like they're kind of making this into, how they did the Harry Potter stuff at Universal. Very interactive, very kind of, what do you call it?
Entertaining.
Yeah, that's not the word I'm looking for. I don't know the word I'm looking for. I'm sorry. But it seems like it's really immersive is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. I'll be here all night. Yeah, it seems like it's going to be super immersive, so I can't wait till this opens, by the way.
I would make plans. I think what I would do, I would probably try to do like a travel trip, go do a travel agency and get all of that, so I could be able to go to that park and get the experience of it. Because as much as I love Disney and stuff, I think the Star Wars thing is still, I don't know if it still have its time limits and stuff like that. But I want to be able to go to the Super Nintendo World and just experience all the stuff that I can. I don't know how the roller coasters are going to be, how the rides are going to be, but if they're kind of for adults and kids, I'm willing to give it a chance. I don't want to be a 39-year-old or 40-year-old by the time this come out. That thing, a 4-year-old on some like 5-year-old kids thing trying to go through Yoshi's World and stuff. That wouldn't look right. I mean, I would still do it, but I kind of want to just enjoy what they have to offer, and I can't wait for this to happen. And it's cool to be able to have the Switch integration, because if you're waiting in a long line, why not bust out your Switch and do some Mario Kart rounds or some Splatoon rounds, or
that's the thing too, is like you're gonna meet so many cool people, and this is why like I kind of miss the Street Pass element of 3DS integrated in the Switch, because like you're gonna be able to like really go in there and like interact with people and kind of play with each other and trade stuff with each other. Like, wouldn't it be so cool if you could go in and be like, oh man, Street Pass, we're all gonna be friends now, and you just kind of like tap your Switches together or whatever, and you kind of like just get it.
Yes.
They like This is where the Street Pass and the Miiverse would have been so good. They could have made they could have made Miiverse or Miitomo, a Miitomo app on the Switch, like just really integrate it into the Switch and make it its own social media hub. Like, they missed so hard on that. And like, don't get me wrong, I love the Switch. I love my Switch. I play it almost daily, right? But like, just the social aspect of it is missing. That was in the Wii and the Wii U and the 3DS. Like,
I think we still have time to integrate that. Because even if they don't, but it would be cool to be like, hey, what's you playing? Let me, like, can I get your Switch code? Or, let's trade, like, here's my Switch number. Cool. So when I get online, I got you.
Yeah.
Or if the park has online for people to hop online with their Switch, bam, you guys are switching right there and you're good to go. And plus you can play Super Nintendo while in the line.
Yeah.
So,
man, they missed it. They missed a good one, Ed.
Like think about the crowd being hyped of doing an 8-player Smash, and you just got random people in line, and you just like, oh.
You know what would be cool too is if like you go to like an area, like they have like kind of like an arcade style thing, in there, and like you kind of hook your Switch up to their Wi-Fi or whatever, and you go into like an 8-player Smash tournament and have like they have like a big wall, and it's like, it'd almost be like Mixer's Hype Zone, where like it searches for like cool things that are happening, and like they have like really intense matches up on the screen or really fun matches, like, man. And
you can still probably use the Nintendo app. Whatever Nintendo does to incorporate that, I think it would literally be cool, And hey, why not be like, hey, if you're playing this game or if you buy this game through the Nintendo app and we see that you buy it at our store and stuff, scan this QR code. Not only do you got this game now that you just bought, we just doubled your Nintendo points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That would literally be cool.
Yeah. Man, I think we will see stuff like that in the future, but right now it's just kind of like, I think Nintendo is really just trying to get their feet wet in aspects, and then I think they'll just evolve in the ways they want to grow, like in the theme park, I hope, is something that they'll consider. But anyways, let's move on to our last story, because we have a bunch of questions to get to also. So our last story, just a real quick note, Nintendo Switch was the top selling console in August. Switch kept its youthful momentum in August as the aging PS4 and Xbox One systems continue to wither. Nintendo's hybrid console was the top-selling hardware in the United States in August, according to industry tracking firm the NPD Group. Check out the NPD software results in August here, blah, blah, blah. Nintendo was the best-performing console on all fronts. Let's see.
Yeah, I think they, for August, they... out of the top 20 for NPD, 9 of them they have from Switch, and they were all exclusive. So shout out to Nintendo for that.
Yeah, it looks like sales are up 2% over last year at this point. I think a lot of people are picking stuff up. Well, last year, like, people weren't buying Switches in September or October. They were waiting till November and December because of Smash and Pokemon. But this year we have Astral Chain, we have Zelda, we have Dragon Quest, we have Overwatch, The Witcher, Luigi's Mansion, Pokemon, Doom, and tens of hundreds of other games that I just failed to mention. But you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot coming. So, so, anyways, yeah. Congratulations, Nintendo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, did you also read about the story that someone already got a Nintendo Switch Lite because Walmart sold it early and they wasn't supposed to?
Yeah.
I was just like, oopsie. I wonder, I can't wait, because it comes out on the 20th, which is next Friday. And I cannot wait to see how that all turns out. I know people said that I'm not going to buy it. Now people just like, I need that green one or I need that yellow one.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's get into these questions, Ed. We have a big question block here. Remember, you can email us at nintendopowerblock@gmail.com. Look for our Twitter thread or be in the live chat on Mixer to ask us questions. We're going to go to our Facebook questions first. These questions come from... Where's it at here? There it is. Found it. I nailed it, guys. I'm totally prepared for this show. Now, how do I get there? Okay. Man, Facebook. Gotta love it. Our first question comes from Joshua LeGroux. He says, "What do you think of the RingCon and the game those experiences?" We kind of touched on this already, but I think like I said before, I think it's an interesting idea. I think Nintendo is experimenting, just kind of like they did with Labo, and they know they've saw a lot of success with Wii Fit, and they already published that fitness boxing game earlier this year, which I forgot to mention while we were talking about it. So I think Nintendo's really getting their foot wet in the fitness department as well, and I think it's a good thing.
You heard me what I said in the news, so I'm excited for it. I think it's going to do wonders. I think it's going to be a big, and people are kind of hyped. They're laughing at the JRPG thing, but now I think people are going to pre-order it so they can play it because it looks funny, and I'm here for a good JRPG.
Yeah, so I will see. We will report on how it does in the near future. I mean, like I think it's interesting. So,
look, people, if you spend $100 trying to buy the Steel Battalion on Xbox, was it? I think Xbox One, and y'all also bought a keyboard for Dreamcast or GameCube or whenever Typing of the Dead came out.
Remember the GameCube keyboard that just had the GameCube controller hooked on the sides of the keyboard, and it was just the size of the keyboard, the controller that was like this big.
Yeah, I do.
Oh man, I miss the GameCube.
So I mean, this is something just adding to Nintendo's wackiness, but yet intriguing. And it's probably going to sell. So yeah.
Yep. Our next question comes from Jesse Douglas, our co-host on the NX show. Also, you should check out Jesse's album because it's a good one. Let me tell you, I've been listening to it every night on stream. It is a good time. You can go to SoundCloud and search for Phantom NXS, and it's called The Intervention. Definitely check out that album.
Yes.
Anyways, back to the question. He asks, with Doom 64 coming to Switch, if it sells well, do you think we could potentially see later down the line a N64 collection like the NES and SNES stuff we have now?
No, I don't think so.
Ed, you're killing me here.
Only reason why I think they're focused on what they got out now. I think before they even get to something like the N64, because Doom 64 was something unexpected.
I mean, to be fair, we already have the two best N64 games on there now, in Turok and Doom 64. So,
but those are not really the best.
No, they are. You're kidding yourself.
Compared to Super Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time.
Yep, they're the best.
What?
They're the best.
We got a situation at hand. I'll talk to you after the show. Let's get it. But no, I don't think we're gonna see anything in the near future. I think they got a lot with doing their online with their Nintendo and the Super Nintendo online stuff, and they already got their classic systems out. So I think people want an N64, but I'm like, are you trying to look? I'm like, what are you trying to look outside of? What are you trying to look outside of Super Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask? You know, games that you played on your 3DS and past systems. Like, are you really looking for Quest 64?
Yep.
or
Fantastic RPG for N64. Highly recommended.
No, no. I mean, you can't really do Banjo. You can't really do Conqueror's Friday because most of the stuff that was on N64 belongs to Rare. Like Jet Set Gemini.
A lot of things people want to play on N64 are games that Nintendo no longer owns. Like GoldenEye. Those rights are just a heaping pile of trash.
I don't even know who owns that.
Perfect Dark is also just not anywhere close. Like Conquer, you said, like I don't think Nintendo would ever allow Conquer to come back. Sadly, by the way, Conquer's Bad Fur Day is a freaking hilarious game.
Right, and so it's going to be like you would really have to think outside of Rare. What games on N64 what was popular that could make it? Because you already got Resident Evil 2 remake. Are you really trying to play Resident Evil 2 on N64? Are you trying to play that version, people?
Yep.
Jesse?
You'll get that super secret Resident Evil 0 Easter egg.
Like, I mean, it's Star Fox 64. I'm sorry I didn't add that.
I mean, there's quite a few games though. Like, but what I'm hoping for is like I was thinking about this when they announced the Star Wars game the other day. Like, this opens the door for Rogue Squadron, for Shadows of the Empire, a couple Star Wars collections on Switch. Like even something like Republic Commando or Knights of the Republic.
Is it Rogue Squad that was on GameCube that was better?
Rogue Squadron 2 was on GameCube. And 3, which was not great. But
I think that was level 5. Was it level 5? That might have been level 5.
Factor 5.
Factor 5. Ooh, goodness.
Yeah.
I kind of missed them as a company.
But you know what I mean? Like with Lucas Arts, like really taking on releasing classic games and stuff. Like this really opens the door for a bunch of cool games. Like even GameCube games that people liked, like Bounty Hunter and Clone Wars and that kind of stuff. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they start releasing these classic games. But don't expect to see any of these major third-party games because they realize they can make money on it. Let's look at Mega Man Collection, Street Fighter Collection.
I mean, this is Capcom. That's a whole different
Resident Evil
story.
stuff. But you know what I mean? Like they see that there's potential money in this stuff. So why would you put it on a free service when you could potentially make $30 or $40 off of it?
Capcom, they can't risk losing money before, or they're going to get brought out or closed. So they gotta keep re-releasing these games and stuff. So Capcom is a different story at this time. But I would love to see like Bomberman 64 from Konami.
I would love Bomberman 64. Bomberman 64 is awesome.
Yeah.
Man,
it's hard to beat because of the camera angle of some of the puzzles. But
hey, man, you know what? You're just gonna do what you're doing. So.
Yes. But I would love Tetris Attack. I would love that.
Tetris Attack would be awesome with online functionality.
Oh yes,
man, tugging at my heartstrings, Ed. We're gonna get to our last question from Twitter. Deshaun Malone, gotta love Deshaun. Always contributing. It's not a show without Deshaun. You know what I mean? What do you think about Nintendo's position in the industry right now?
I think we answered this before, so
I think we have too. But I feel like there's an interesting discussion, a little more discussion to have here. Like I really think Nintendo's position in the industry is very unique right now because they aren't exactly competing with Xbox and PlayStation. They're competing to be everybody's. I would say they're competing to be everybody's second console, which is allowing them to be, universal. Like, if you are competing to be everybody's secondary console, you're going to win because you are naturally selling more consoles. Because you will either own a PlayStation, like most people will own a PlayStation and a Switch, or an Xbox and a Switch, instead of a PlayStation and an Xbox, because those two systems, besides the first party offerings, like they offer a similar gameplay experience. Like you're not gonna buy if you play Call of Duty and Madden and FIFA every year, right? If you're that type of gamer, or with Fortnite and Apex out, like you're not gonna play Fortnite on your Xbox and then go play Call of Duty on a PlayStation that you're going to go buy, right? No, you're going to stick in your ecosystem. You're just going to stay with your Xbox because those games are there. Whereas Nintendo is clearly offering a ton of different experiences, and a lot of indie experiences that, you know, are coming first to Switch, doing better on Switch, plus, you know, Zelda, which is amazing.
Nintendo is leading right now. Their position right now is that they're leading the industry, and they always continue to lead the industry. Once again, I said in the past that there's no other company like Nintendo that people are trying to copy off of. You know, even cell phone stuff, when people thought that the DS was going to be outdone by phones, now you got Razer trying to do something like the Nintendo Switch. You know, you had with the Wii U, you had Sony try to do it with their Vita for PlayStation. You try to have Microsoft do it with the glass thing for Surface and other tablets and stuff for them. So Nintendo is leading always in innovation in everything. And even just look at the past, even if you look at the past direct, if you go on social media, people have been talking about all the stuff that's Nintendo related. Whether you love it or hate it, you cannot deny that for Nintendo in the position that they're in, that's all what most people are talking about. Regardless of what show that you're listening to, Nintendo is always going to come up. Sony can have a historic, you know, is having this historic moment of selling the most systems, but that's all they have going on for them. It's just selling systems. Even with Xbox, everybody excited for the games that come to Xbox and how they're changing their kind of format and integrating more of their businesses around the world into different things. But you don't really talk about Sony and Microsoft in the same realm that you talk about Nintendo. If you just even look at this, pretty much, if you look at everything that Nintendo has done, how people laughed at Nintendo with the Nintendo Direct. Now, but that changed everything, and it's still going strong. You know, Nintendo Direct inspired inside Xbox and State of Play, you know, and Stadia and all of that stuff. Like, Nintendo right now has always been leading and continues to lead, and their position is always going to be, what are we going to do next that's going to be unexpected and going to have the industry, whether you're a fan or not, or a consumer or not, look at us as a video game company and how we're going to change the landscape in minds. So I think for right now, Nintendo is just a leading factor. They're big, and like I said, I don't think none of their systems are failures due to sales or anything, because the thing about it is, when you still want to play a last gen game on a new system and people are still saying, now I have a chance to play it, that's big and bold. You know, that says a lot. Like, people who weren't into RPGs are happy that Tokyo Mirage Session is coming out and people want to play it and plan on buying it.
Tokyo Mirage Sessions can be so good, dude, on Switch. I have like a really great feeling about that game.
Company, even look at the PC market in a sense. PC games coming to Switch. Now people are getting a chance to play for that, where people were just like, this PC console kind of, this debate and discussion is still there and everything. So I don't see Nintendo as being as the second console or anything. I think it is the console of this generation. You cannot deny on how powerful Nintendo and its products are. You know, you could laugh at it, you can make memes all you want to, but there is more people still continue to talk about Nintendo and their stuff throughout the year. When's the last time we really talked about Sony in a big discussion, regardless of what show it is, that they have impacted anything? When have we even did it with Microsoft and stuff? Heck, we want Microsoft products to come to Nintendo and not really pay much attention to Microsoft. You know, check the last week's NX show, how, like, we all talked about when Ray made a statement that Game Pass is a really big factor for Xbox, and it really is. But Nintendo like offers more than just Game Pass and stuff. Yeah, they got the Switch Online, their online stuff. But throughout the years and stuff, Nintendo has always offered a different experience.
It's their legacy. It's their legacy content that, like, you know, we talk about how important Game Pass is to the Xbox ecosystem, right? And like,
right,
yeah, like you said, like Game Pass does not make the Xbox. Xbox does not make the Game Pass, right? But like, they kind of coexist in like in this thing that, like, okay, if I own an Xbox, I might as well have Game Pass, or, you know, I mean, Game Pass, even, you know, you can get it on PC now, and it works across the systems and everything with Xbox Live, and like, it's kind of like a unifying thing, right? Where Nintendo, you go to Nintendo Switch Online and you have their legacy content, and yeah, I know Xbox has their legacy stuff on Game Pass too, but like, Nintendo's history and their you know, we're still part of that generation who we grew up on Nintendo, and that stuff is still very important to us. And even the stuff that we didn't play as kids, like, you know, there's a ton of NES and SNES games I didn't play as a kid, but if they're going to end up on the system, like, knowing it's almost like a interactive history lesson almost, to an extent. And like, I think Nintendo's legacy is super important to the brand and their systems and how they approach game design still to this day, right? Yeah. Like, I just think Nintendo's legacy is how they want their brand to be, right? Like, okay, we're seeing Nintendo take a lot of new steps for them, right? Like, you know, talking with Microsoft about certain things, working with third parties, working with Platinum, getting, you know, more quote unquote adult mature games on the system, having Bethesda put their catalog on the system, right? Like, this is a new Nintendo, but they're still saying, hey, we're still Nintendo with this legacy stuff.
It's a new Nintendo. And, you know, I agree with that. It's just, I think that now third parties are recognizing finally that we should have been doing this a long time ago, and we should have tried to been building a relationship with the community, because they've been crying out for our stuff in past generations, and that stuff we should have, in a way, whether it's not graphically impressive or anything, we should at least design something for that system. And they kind of now see the benefits that they're getting from it. You know, they're seeing how well their games are selling and everything, and how people are still talking about it. Like, we mentioned the stuff about Doom, and we mentioned stuff about Wolfenstein 2 and stuff, like how that stuff, when they came out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, they did what they needed to do, and the talk of them ended. People are still talking about that stuff once it came out on Switch, and it's almost been about a year. You know, and it's kind of amazing to see all of that. Like I said, even with Sony selling all of this stuff, you know, selling all of these systems, they get a talk for a month and a half about a product, and then that's it. Where people are still showcasing stuff from Mario Kart and Breath of the Wild, and that came out 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, you know, people, like, still the first game everybody buys with their Switch is Zelda, right? I mean, for the most part. You know, I mean, that kind of tapered off when Odyssey came out, and, you know, people usually got Mario and Mario Kart with their system, right? But there's no denying that making that change to Zelda, I mean, it's still Zelda, right? Like, it still resembles Zelda, but they made a lot of changes for the better, and so, arguably some were not as great as others, but, you know, like, I still would like to explore having dungeons again, right? Like, that kind of
which that's probably gonna come in part 2.
I know.
Like they said, they was gonna expand on it.
I know.
Everything.
I'm so excited. But anyways, that's a discussion for a different day, by the way.
Yes.
You know, but the changes they did make to Zelda, for the most part, were super positive and super well received. And like I said, you know, I recognize some of the faults in Breath of the Wild, but the experience I had with that game, and you know, maybe some of it's being tied to getting a new system and it being a new Zelda game and whatever, but like the experience I had with that game and talking to people about it and talking to you about it, and I link Breath of the Wild to this show in particular so much because we were talking about it when we first started, before we even knew the Switch existed, right? Because it was still Zelda Wii U at that point.
Yeah.
And like Zelda Breath of the Wild is going to mean a lot to me when all is said and done, and like if PAL Block doesn't exist anymore, if Nerds Gone Rogue or Codename NX or Mixer streaming, like if all that doesn't exist anymore and we still come back to this point, like Breath of the Wild is going to have so many positive memories outside of Zelda for me. And you know, it was just a great game. So
yeah. So I think, and I know we're about to go, I think Nintendo, their position is that they're leading, and I think they will continue to lead. I mean, I understand Sony's looking into ray tracing, and Microsoft is still doing the same thing. And you know,
yeah, but at what point is the technology overtaking the fun? You know what I mean? And it's not like, you know, like I'm playing Gears right now, and Jesse and I have been streaming Gears and playing a lot of Gears together and stuff. Like, Gears is a fantastic looking game. It is a beautiful game. The tech behind that game is amazing. And like that game is so much fun to play, and the mechanics are great and stuff. But there's certain games out there that like there's so much, like, a great example, right? The Order, when it came out. The tech behind that game is extremely beautiful. The story is really good. But like the tech behind that game is so detailed and so amazing to look at, just from, you know, textures and the way the characters move and their facial animations and the lighting and the scale of the levels, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the game, to physically play the game, not good, right? Like
it's very like, average.
To be fair though, like the points where you actually do play feel great. The guns feel good. The shooting feels great. The characters are super cool in their interactions, and like the story of an alternate history based on alternate technology is super fascinating.
Yeah. But
if you don't have a fun game, you know, like, what's the point? An example I hear a lot about this, and sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no.
But look at Mega Man, right? The original NES games.
Mm-hmm.
Super basic art, super basic designs. Now, I mean, there's a lot of great pixel art in there, but like the designs are basic, but the game is fun. The jumping feels right. The shooting feels right. The power-ups feel right. Like, it all just feels great to play, right? And you know, that's why people still play that game to this day. But you know, the tech behind games isn't everything. You know, look how successful Fortnite is, right? That's not a, I mean, the tech of getting 100 players on one map is amazing, but like, that game's not incredibly graphically intense, right? And it's it's the most popular game in the world. So
it's graphics and fun. We might have another discussion about this. Are good, and they could work very well. It's sometimes the delivering of the premise of what you're going to get into. Because using the same example as the Order 1886, you thought that you were going to be fighting a lot of werewolves, because that's what Sony and Red Dawn was showing. And then when you get the game, it's a average cover-based shooting game where you're fighting more humans than you are werewolves. So it kind of felt like the game somewhat lied to you in a sense. You can have a beautiful world and everything, but if you do not get not showcase what you're actually going to be getting, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter if the game is going to be fun. It's not the game that you was going to get, and it wasn't the premise that was delivered to you. So I think that's why a lot of people, when they're seeing games now, and this goes back to the question with the position of Nintendo, is that we're seeing stuff in play and we're seeing indie games and all of this crazy stuff. We're now seeing that, and we get an idea of what we're going to get, and sometimes we can make a judgment if that's what we're going to buy. In the near future, you can have the best graphics, you can have the best gameplay all you want to, but if it's hid behind all these cutscenes and then we get the game and it's not what we thought it was because it didn't live up to what these cutscenes are, none of that stuff is going to matter. So I think companies got to realize in the future they got to deliver on their premise first and show us what we're actually going to get before they deliver all of us graphics and gameplay and stuff like that. Like if Gears of War wasn't a big franchise and a well-known series and they knocked it out the part of the first game, I don't think Gears 5 would still be around to what it is right now. I think we all got an idea of what it is and stuff.
Yeah. So anyways, Jesse makes two really good points in the chat. He says, I think Breath of the Wild was a good starting point. Like all open world games, the first one will be basic to what's to come. And then he also says, I think the overpopulation of retro graphics games, it always comes down to the story and gameplay. Graphics matter only after everything else. So good points, Jesse.
Yeah, we talked. Me and you talked about, and you guys could check Optional Opinion. Sorry for plugging. Go check out my Beauty of Video Games. Check out Beauty of Video Games Volume 4, where me and Corey we talk about the art of the character. We talk about how characters and art really matter to a video game, and of course, we actually had a conversation about graphics on Power Block on some old episodes. That sometimes art could be beautiful and very stylistic, and sometimes it could look downright ugly, but yet it's very intriguing and stuff. And then some of that stuff really does matter.
Yep.
So,
anyways, that's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Power Block. I want to thank everybody so much for watching on Mixer. If you want to download the show and take us with you, you can download it on Saturdays on your podcast service of choice or on Spotify. You can also find it on YouTube and our various network of websites and feeds and everything else. So, yeah, there's no Twitter, no Facebook group, no nothing. Kind of leaving it simple for now. We'll have discussions on what's happening with that in the near future, but like we said before, Nintendo Power Block's back. We're very excited to be doing it. This is kind of the format. I'm also going to try to make a list of games that are coming out every week. Kind of didn't do that this week, but just to give everybody a feel of what games they can play on their Switch this coming week. So check that out next week. I think that's pretty much it. Ed, do you want to plug yourself? Where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThatBretcherCode. You can find me on Twitch and on Mixer at the Lyrical One. And you guys could check me on codename NX.com and the NX Show, an Optional Opinion, World 1-1 podcast. And yeah, you guys can check it right there. I do want to apologize to everybody. I am pushing back the Video Games Volume 5 to a later date. The podcast will still come out on every Saturday of this month, but I'm pushing the dates back because there's some maintenance going on, and I'm waiting for the maintenance to come through, and then I will upload the project.
Yeah, that's partially my fault. I'm trying to get the websites back in order. They're kind of... WordPress changed their pricing structure, and now everything kind of just like is effed up to be PG about it. And I'm working on it. I'm trying to make sure everything's functioning correctly, and we're gonna go from there. But it might take a week or so to get at least it functioning like a normal website. So I'm sorry, Ed. That's my fault.
No, it was literally unexpected. And I believe more in you because I love when you create, when you. So hopefully you don't stress out your things, but you really get really creative and put. Yeah, I'm being serious. You really are creative and you put your all into this because you want to bring out the best of everything. And the only way that's going to happen if you make the stuff look the best that it could be, and make it that way.
I just want codenameNX.com and nerdsgonerogue.com, places where like I want people to like go there and see our content. Like it's not like we just have these websites just to have them, right? I would love it if people watched our show there, or like followed us there, or watched our live streams there. But I know that it's not realistic. That's why we also have the YouTube channel. That's why we have a Mixer and Twitch channels for stuff. Like that's why we have Twitters for things. And I'm experimenting a little bit with Restream to get a YouTube audience and a Mixer audience and a Twitch audience for the NX show, and I'm still having conversations with Matt about what he wants to do with Nerds Gone Rogue. I know we're just streaming to YouTube right now, and my personal Mixer page, but we're still having those conversations. So I'm just trying to work on stuff. I'm trying to make sure when people visit our websites that they're the best possible experiences they can have, and it's going to take a minute for me to get the websites back up and running. Especially Codename NX just got annihilated in terms of content. Like half of our podcasts are missing. I don't know, man. I thought about just starting over on Codename NX and going somewhere else to host it, but I already paid up, so it's gonna be a minute. So, okay. But anyways, Ed, I'm sorry for that. No. And I'll have it all fixed in the next. I'm making my priority Codename NX right now to get fixed, and then I'll move on to Nerds Gone Rogue. So.
Yeah, but if you guys want to read some of the writings, it is on ngrradio.com. And the podcast stuff for Optional Opinion for the video games is releasing every Saturday at 10 a.m. So you guys can check it there. If it's not there when you see it, give it some time. It'll pop up, and you guys can give it a listen. It was a really fun project doing this one. So, and I cannot wait for Volume 6.
Anyways, I want to thank everybody so much for watching. Follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at CoreyNHG713. You can follow Ed at ThatRetroCode. You can follow me on Instagram and Mixer at CoreyNHD. Hopefully you give us a follow. Thumbs up, all that stuff. Send us your tweets and your GIFs and your whatever else you want to send us. So I want to thank everybody so much for watching. And until next week, we love you.
Bye, everybody. Woohoo!